Okay, I'm getting ready for what I believe is going to be a really, really good move in Bitcoin, but it's not ready just yet. I'm going to explain to you guys what I primarily want to see, what my plan is, and then if I'm wrong, what that can look like as well. But even if I'm wrong, it still results in a profitable trade. I can still make profit off of it, decent. But the primary scenario I want to show you guys is what I want to happen so I can actually better position myself for a better resulting trade. Now, before I get started, guys, remember everything I say in this video is just my own personal opinion. It is what I am looking for, what I like to do. I just like to share with you guys, so please do your own research and due diligence. But before we jump into Bitcoin real quick, like this is actually super major and I really like this. This is actually the first time in a while where we've seen Bitcoin on the bigger picture. So these are multiple months on the chart, and this is the first time we're actually seeing Bitcoin break these more significant swing lows. See, it came down, not Bitcoin, sorry, the S&P. The S&P broke below the swing low. We haven't seen these major swing lows get broken. We've seen them respect each other quite well. So this is a big deal. There's strong momentum to the downside. I want to keep paying attention to this because the S&P looks attractive, but I feel like we can get a pretty good trade opportunity on that. So I'm just keeping a close eye on it. I just wanted to share that. And then as well, if you guys like to trade or hedge with the VIX, yeah, I mean, it did its job, right? It went up quite a bit as well. But the cool thing about it is that if it went up that much, I mean, we're probably ready for a corrective move on the S&P overall market. It's just very interesting. I just want to point that out so you guys can maybe look it up yourself. But this is a very important month after next week. I believe that's when we have an FOMC and we have a lot of important jobs and inflation numbers coming out as well. So this week, starting after tomorrow, because the market's closed on Monday, a 4-day trading week. I'm very interested in seeing what Bitcoin's going to do, but I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about because then it can set up for next week. And if we can see continued discounted prices, and this is my primary view, I'm going to show you guys what that means in a moment. So I'm going to clean up the charts a little bit. I'm going to explain something before I remove this red one. So I'm going to explain the view before I remove the red one. So if we see continued discounted prices leading throughout this week into the following trading week, not this one, not the one starting Tuesday the 14th, I'm talking about the week after. If we continue to see weakness, unlike the last FOMC meeting, I don't believe the price or the market will be factoring in what is expected. As of right now, a 0.25 interest rate cut is expected just due to really bad jobs numbers and the fact that the Fed just really wants to print money, the US deficit, and then a ton of other stuff. I mean, it's all over the internet. But the idea here is that I'm still looking for 128K as the next extension area for this overall bull market. So 128K. Until we get there, though, because this red area shows the overall support from the swing low to the swing high, we were looking to hold a higher low right here. But unfortunately, due to random macroeconomic headlines, we saw fear really kick in. Now the fear wasn't enough to break into a new low, but it was enough to break below this swing low. So this retracement. So what I'm looking at right now, and if I draw it on the side, if I draw this on the side, and I'll move it a little bit so it's easier to look at, there's potential for a lower high to form here. So we can see a more significant 3-wave move down. Technically, we have one, but it's not as clear and it's not as attractive as us seeing bigger picture corrective moves. So this can go, it can easily pass this area. There's a lot of fluctuations right here, so it's a potential opportunity. But we have a nice imbalance right here. It's a lot easier to see on the 2 and the 4-hour time frame. But what I'm looking for ideally is this. Now this is what I'm looking for. So let's just say the price tops out roughly within the premium section of this short-term resistance. It shows that one more move down could potentially come down to around 100k, overlapping very nicely with the 0.5 short-term deep discounted price level that we have here previously. We can be revisiting it, and the only reason that's my primary view is because, and I'm deleting that because it's just an estimate at the moment, but it's because it broke the support we were primarily looking at. So if you guys saw yesterday's video, you already know I bought 50k worth of IBIT for some short-term fluctuative plays. And by short-term, it's a swing trade. I'm looking to hold on to it. I'm hoping the second scenario doesn't happen, and you guys are gonna find out why or what my explanation is. But if we can see a lower high form right here, holding the descending resistance, right? If we can continue to see that play and have a one more low, it will open the path very clearly for us to go below 107k, where the short-term deep value area is. So again, that's between basically 93k and 107k, 100k being like the median area. So if you can fill that and actually have one more low into this area in those price range I just mentioned, I would like to accumulate BitU to open up some leveraged plays, because at that moment, Bitcoin is just way too attractive, especially with still us being fairly early in Q4. The bull market is still there, and it could all just be, just like we've seen before, fear due to external factors just causing fear in the markets. But if that happens, I mean, it can provide really good opportunities to S&P, a lot of tech stocks, Bitcoin. It's crazy. And then with like Mara stock, it can bring us down into this area where, some accumulation can begin once again. I'm very much interested in paying close attention to all of this and a few other things, but that's the ideal pathway. I'm holding on to that 50k IBIT because that is the base, the foundation of this swing trade I opened up Friday. I would like primarily, the primary scenario, one more time before I go into the alternative one, is one more low coming in within this purple price range, 93 and 107. I would like to accumulate BitU to complement the IBIT position, and I would like to add like 10 to 20k of BitU within this zone. Okay, now that's what I want to see. It would delay some green on the trade. It would delay it, but it will allow for me to accumulate in what I'm going to consider a very, very attractive price zone. Now, regardless of this artificial fear based in Bitcoin, basically due to macro external factors, here's the thing. It's still very possible that we hold these lows and we don't break below them, these two lows right here, because we were in an uptrend. This broke due to just external factors that don't really have anything to do with Bitcoin. So, at least in my opinion. So, with that being said, we were in an uptrend. We were getting ready to hold a higher low. Technically, we still have a higher low, but we were getting ready to hold a more a healthy one. But then it caused that dip. So now, if the market starts to realize, like, hey, this actually was just emotional selling in the broad market going on, basically, we can easily fill this gap back up and retain a lot of that value. Now, if Bitcoin, instead of coming down one more low and actually giving us that very attractive buying opportunity, I already bought in because we were at support. So that's already enough for me to want to get in. And I'm very, very confident when it comes to this just being external factors for a lot of reasons. If you guys been watching far, you kind of know my mindset already with that. But the thing is, if Bitcoin instead starts to fluctuate, break over this zone at basically 20,000 or 120,000, if we break over and we just continue to see an uptrend form over this long closed market weekend, and we continue to trend higher and start retesting this all-time high right here, if we just start going higher, then I am interested in just closing out the position or shaving the position, locking in some profit as we finally reach that 128k level, because we're so close to it. If if the low already happened and we trend higher, I would not be adding BitU. I would just be letting the price run up. I'll just let it do its thing, and then I'll be locking in profit around that 128K level. And then from there, it could easily close the gap to 1.38 extension at 136K very easily. But if you guys watched the strategy video I uploaded like 2 weeks ago, you will understand my overall trading strategy. And even if I sell out of this short-term trade, that does not mean I still won't be profiting off of a continued upside. But for the short term, that's what I'm looking at. Ideally, I would like to see a lower high form respecting this resistance or descending resistance. One more low, short-term devalue 103K to 107K, adding BitU to complement IBIT, and then from there, just holding onto that swing trade, letting it do its thing, because the amount of value in this area will be absolutely insane, in my opinion. Instead, if I'm wrong and the price holds and it trends higher, then I'm looking to sell the IBIT position for profit, and the profit is going to be roughly, because I remember I bought into it 50 minutes before market close on Friday, so it was around that price range. It's still a decent like 10%, and I'll probably close early, so like 8 to 10% profit on 50K, not bad. That's absolutely acceptable. To me, I like that. So that's the idea. Either I'm right and I get to accumulate BitU to maximize profit when it's ready to go up, or I will be wrong and instead I'll be locking in profit, but a smaller amount around 128K if the price decides to hold higher. So that's my view. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep a close eye on the S&P, but that's what I'm doing right now. I would really like to add more before it goes up higher, but if instead it goes up higher before I have the chance to add more, before we can hit this range, then cool, I'll let it run, I'll lock in some profit, and it's still a good day regardless. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.